It's Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. How's it going? It's going okay this morning. Kids are a little crazy, not gonna lie. It's probably gonna be a little noisy. But you know what? That's how it goes. So yesterday was exciting. For those of you who missed the stream, Jessica and I, kids are always crazy. That's true. Oh, thank you so much, Arsenal Roy. Oh, and we're sharing emotes. Cool. What do we get? What do we get? What is it? K-pop selfie. Oh, it's new K-pop stuff. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, well, thank you so much. Look at this. Oh, we're getting all the K-pop. Oh, that's cool. I like that one. Well, thank you so much. But yes, on mainly thank you to Arsenal Roy 2K. We completed the one chip challenge. It was very interesting, very exciting. You can watch the video on demand over on Jessica's channel. It was an experience for sure. For sure. We survived. I think that's as much as we can say. We survived. Without too many ill effects, actually. Feeling okay. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. And look, we've got a hype train going and more K-pop dance. I have to admit, I'm not a K-pop person, but the fans certainly seem interesting. I love when they attack hashtags that are otherwise being used by bad people, so that's always fun. Those chips are no joke. They're definitely not. I realized so my experience yesterday after having the chip. Yeah, I mean it was super hot, and none of those are actually capable. Oh, I know. I'm sure. Terrence, these are like the the most generic version of something that could be pretending to be K-pop. Sure, but yeah, in general. So yeah, I mean, obviously it was super crazy hot. I managed to make it through the heat. I didn't have anything to eat or drink, but then I waited too long to have something to eat or drink afterwards. So I did have a bit of a stomach ache afterward, but then I ate something later, and then it was fine after that. But it was an interesting experience. I guess I got what they refer to in the biz as the gut bomb, when just your stomach hurts later on, but it was fine. All right, so I think this is my last one of these little guys to open. Thank you for the follow. So we've gone through a whole bunch of these over the last few weeks, months maybe, opening all of the ones I had left. So these are the 2-inch MCU figures. They did them for Guardians of the Galaxy. They did them for Age of Ultron. And they did the last ones here for Captain America Civil War when they called them Miniverse. And that was the end of, yeah, K-pop with quotes. And this was the end of the line for these little toys. So this says, obviously we have Ant-Man and Winter Soldier. Interesting that it's Winter Soldier and not Bucky. Hello, M.A.S.K Ghost. And it says, Ant-Man and Winter Soldier overcome adversity to join the fight and battle for justice. Now, is that not the most heartwarming thing? They overcame adversity. Sure. 2 white dudes overcame adversity. Now this is the first and only Ant-Man figure in this scale. Obviously Ant-Man was not in Age of Ultron, so I don't have one of those to compare and contrast, although I did grab a couple of my little Ant-Man figures I have a bunch. Let's pop off these things. Okay, so Ant-Man is... he's alright. He's probably one of my least favorite of these figures, only because like even that really weird stance, and it's partly due to the packaging. Like you can see how the feet, like this foot is bent in a little bit. It shouldn't impede him from standing up, but it is a little odd. And like even his arms are all swingy, and you know, just considering most of these figures are pretty static. Like I don't know why Ant-Man of all people needed a more exaggerated action pose. His helmet is the sort of the second generation Ant-Man helmet. A little bit more of a muzzle shape to the front of it. And then again, as with all of these, there's quite a bit of sculpted detail, but not a lot of paint to show it off. There's a little code there on the back of his leg. What are you going to do? Holes on the bottom of the feet, so if you had a base from something else, you could use it, but they don't come with bases. He stands up well enough. And then, of course, these things came with all these goofy armor pieces. So we've got Ant-Man, and we have... ooh, this piece is totally like the old M.A.S.K figures from the 80s. I wonder if you could swap... hold on a second. Yeah, very good point about Paul Rudd, that he'd be an action star and I'd have toys of him. So these are M.A.S.K figures from the 80s. Just an amazing toy line. Transforming vehicles, really great figures. With everyone had this little M.A.S.K accessory. Let's see how interchangeable these are. Now with this helmet, you're not going to be able to put these on there very well, although I could probably pop... let's see if I can pop the head off. Not too bad, about the same. Oh, M.A.S.K was so great, so great. Did you see a few months ago somebody in I can't remember what country it was, but it was in South America. They discovered there was a cargo truck in a warehouse that had just been misplaced, and it was full of toys from the 80s. It was full of M.A.S.K toys that had never been opened. It's close. It's not exactly the right shape, but yeah, pretty amazing stuff. I only have a handful of figures left. I don't have any of the I don't have any vehicles left. Yeah, and apparently like whoever discovered it, like all the stuff went on eBay, so all of a sudden there were all of these mint in package M.A.S.K toys that were going for a lot of money. It's pretty great. This one was one of my favorites. I don't remember his name. His vehicle was the green motorcycle that turned into a little helicopter. Oh, so great. I mean, Hasbro keeps threatening to bring M.A.S.K back in some way, shape, or form. It was supposed to be part of the new cinematic universe of old 80s properties, but there was a comic book for a little while. Yeah, sadly, I don't have any of the vehicles. I had a few of them when I was little. Oh, and then see, Ant-Man also has these goofy arm things. I don't know. It's just garbage. Whatever this is supposed to be, some kind of grappling hook, I guess. I don't know why Ant-Man needs that, but there we go. It's terrible. Yeah, M.A.S.K was really cool. And then again, just if we wanted to compare, I've got like the Nano Metal figure. This is a bootleg version of a Hot Toys Ant-Man accessory. I think I got this on Wish app. So it's probably from the actual factory that made the Hot Toys versions, but just like smuggled out of the back, and not $50. I think I'm pretty sure that's what this is. There was also a little yellow jacket with this too. So there are a couple of Ant-Mans, and then we get Winter Soldier. So here we finally have him unmasked. And does that look like the actor? That profile's a little bit better than straight on. But again, like, how good of a likeness are you expecting in a 2-inch toy? This one, man, just like tons of sculpted detail and no paint. Especially the back is just black. There's a little bit of paint on these belts, but not much going on. Now we do have the previous version to compare. So they definitely went a little bit in a different way for this newer one. Yeah, I guess whichever one you prefer is more like if you like the well, yeah, I mean so it's a long story, but yes, originally he was Bucky Barnes, American soldier, and then he was lost, used by the Russians, and then comes back. It's a whole thing. That's a good question. Do I really think the kids would love M.A.S.K now like we did in the 80s? I mean, yeah, they'd have to update it in some ways. Obviously, we'd need more modern vehicles in that line. Yeah, I don't know. It was so revolutionary then and just really cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Looking back at those toys, I suppose they're a little clunky for modern day aesthetics, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what was interesting about these toys, comparing all of the Age of Ultron era versus the Civil War, is that for almost all of them, yeah, they did completely new molds for them, which is surprising because that's not a good money saving endeavor. But yeah, it's all new figure for sure.
So maybe we can just tell her.
Cool. Well, maybe for next time, I'll get a picture. I'll take my whole collection out. Though I have a ton of those little Ultron drones everywhere. I also have a million of the Iron. What are they called? The Iron Man drones. I always forget the name of them. Iron Sentinels, something like that. These Iron Legion. Iron Legion. I think that's what it is. But yeah, these came in 2-packs, and I bought like 10 of them. So I have a whole bunch of these guys running around. Yeah, and I don't know if it would, if you had the vehicle with the figures, if kids would really be into that, or if you just had smaller transforming things by themselves, maybe with minifigures. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see them try. And I'd love to get more M.A.S.K toys in some way. Yeah, I thought these were really cool, so I bought a ton of them. There's a big pile of them off to the side over here, actually. And yeah, this stuff, I mean, I keep all this crap, but I might as well just throw this away because these are junk. I do appreciate though that on this piece they sort of, like, it does look like the Ant-Man helmet, just really exaggerated and kind of scary actually. But at least it's not completely generic like some of the other ones. All right. Oh, and then I have this goofy Ant-Man thing that came with something. I think this came with the 6-inch basic Ant-Man figure from Endgame, I think. I don't know. But it's kind of neat, just as a little display. Yeah, just some, I mean, on all these toys, really, just the paint is so minimal. Yeah, it would add so much if they added. Ooh, Captain Planet. Yeah, that's true. That's a property that I think they could definitely bring. Although, again, though, it's like the thing. I feel like kids these days, a little bit more jaded than we were in the 80s. Maybe less open to like, let's save the planet in quite so optimistic terms. Obviously, there are kids doing great efforts to recycle, and yes, obviously we've got hybrids and everything else. So it's something that kids are familiar with, but I think they really need to figure out the right tone for that message. Right? Yeah, the Don Cheadle Captain Planet. Yeah, that was great. I know at least one artist made a Don Cheadle Captain Planet figure, not licensed or mass produced or anything, but somebody made one of those. Okay. Let's do a little bit of Transformers. So one of the characters and designs that I've liked over the years is Hot Rod / Rodimus / Rodimus Prime. Now, why all the slashes? Well, as it goes with trademarks and names and different generations of things, the names have changed over the years. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other, sometimes it changes. Yeah, so this is I don't even know if this is the latest version. There's probably more, but from the Titans Return line. So here, this one is Hot Rod. Okay. And there's a couple of interesting things going on here. So first of all, this is from the Titans Return line, which was essentially Headmasters. So here we've got his head comes off and it turns into the little guy here, Fire Drive, who can also be the pilot or the driver of the car. So we've got that. Now, like I said, so this character has been around for a while, since 80, what was it, 85 or 86 when the movie came out? I can't remember now. Yeah, they brought back Headmasters. They even brought back Pretenders in a way. They made little versions that used basically the same size and shape of Headmasters that went in these little tiny shell bodies that were really small. They also did Target Masters, which were essentially a weapon that turned into a little robot. Target Masters. Power Masters were the one that was like an engine piece that turned into a little tiny robot. Yes, what's old is new again. So in Transformers the movie, way back in the 80s, they introduced Rodimus. So that was the original version of this character. And then I think I have a Rodimus, a reissue, but here is the tiny version of Rodimus. So that's what he looked like in the old movie. Super cool, futuristic car. And then in the movie, spoilers, Optimus Prime dies. The matrix of leadership gets passed on. It is held on to by Ultra Magnus for a while, but Ultra Magnus does not actually open it up. And then in the end, Rodimus gets it and is transformed into Rodimus Prime. Here's like an action figure version of that. But then later they would, again, the Hot Rod versus Rodimus, they'd switch it back and forth. It, like I said, it gets complicated. So some of my toys are Hot Rods, some of them are Rodimuses. Doesn't matter. I know, spoilers, sorry. He had the touch and he had the power. Yeah, Terrence, exactly. Big, like, sea changes in the animated world when that happened. Because, again, that was the same year that the G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe animated movie was coming out. And after the incredible response to Optimus Prime dying in the Transformers movie, they quickly went back and changed the G.I. Joe movie. Yeah, exactly. So that, whatever, was it Duke? Hawk? What, I don't remember. But that he didn't die in the G.I. Joe movie. They were going to kill him off too. And again, part of it was they were just introducing a ton of new toys. So they wanted to get rid of some of the older characters. I mean, man, if you go back and watch that Transformers movie, it is brutal. In the first 15 minutes, they just annihilate a ton of the original Autobots, especially. Duke, that's right, yeah. Just came with a... It's a pretty cool card. It's got like the cut off edges, but the picture has his head detached. It's kind of goofy. And then what's nice is they brought back the stats, which is cool. He's got muscle, he's got run, he's got cogs in his brain, and he's got projectile. And yes, I believe that equates to strength, speed, intelligence. And then usually, instead of like firepower, they call it like fire blast or something like that. Good morning, Tiny Chris. How's it going? Yes, we're doing a little bit of Transformers. Not great stats, frankly. Although I don't know if this is D&D terms, if like 18 is standard maximum, but then, you know, if you have bonuses, you could get up to 20. I don't know. Yeah, so they've tried some Transformers games in the past, and they have not been good. Hasbro, for a little while, was making a game called Attacktix. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. I could do a feature on that at some point. So they did this, like I said, yeah, the game was awful. It was pretty bad. It was mostly Star Wars. They did some Transformers, a handful of Marvel before the end of it. Goofy, oversized figures that had these clicky bases. So it told, essentially there was a number on the base that told you how far it could move in the number of clicks. So as you slid it across the table, it would click, and then a dial inside would turn, and depending on what color was showing, when your figure got knocked out, could possibly activate a special feature upon its death, essentially. The figures would literally fight. So half the figures had projectile launchers, and you would try to knock down your enemy figures. The other half were some sort of melee based. So you would twist it, and then there would be a spring, so you'd let go, and it would hit something. Again, always the idea would be to knock down opposing figures. But yeah, nothing looked good in that line. And it didn't last very long. Yeah, there was Star Wars. It was mostly Star Wars, and then a little bit of Transformers, and a little bit of Marvel. And yeah, they were very exaggerated sculpts. Okay, hold on. Give me a second. Let me get all this trash out of the way. Give me 1 second. Okay, you're in luck because I just happened to have recently taken out my fairly sizable Attacktix collection to give to my children to play with. So here's my tub of Attacktix. And I'll show you what some of them look like. So again, we've got Darth Vader version of Anakin. Goofy looking proportions, right? So we've got the lightsaber. You can see on the base, he can move 12 clicks, and there's a little tiny window right here. It's let me turn it. Okay, see the red? So as you clicked it, it would go back and forth. Red, black, red, black. So when he got knocked down, you would look on the bottom, and then, okay. So as it's turning on the top, it's also turning on the bottom. See the little, it turns from black to white. So then he had an ability, so if it was knocked over and it was white, then you would get to do this special ability. And then every figure had a little symbol. Well, it has a, so we have the name, point value, because again, just like every miniatures game, you would add up the points. Faction symbol, I think that's the Sith. And then like a rank, so this is a leader. And then again, the special ability would trigger off of something like that. So here you would replace one of your troopers with this figure. So actually you get to revive him in place of one of your other figures. And again, the number here would be the movement, so he can move 12. And that I admit was kind of an interesting gimmick because obviously there was no mat or anything, so you could do 12 clicks in any direction as long as you were constantly clicking as it was moving. And then if you wanted to make an attack, you would use one finger to hold down the base, and then literally do that and try to knock down your enemies. Darth Maul here, another 30-point figure. So you would click it up, and then, oh, well. Hey, it did it. So, yeah, I mean, definitely gimmicky. The figures look more like little kid toys than miniatures. I think that's a big reason why it wasn't super popular. I have no idea what the price of these things were. Obviously, it came out during the prequels, so those were very big in this line. But they had classic stuff too. Let's see. Okay, so and then the other style were projectile launchers. So again, we've got a good old Captain Antilles here. And again, so these are just spring-loaded projectiles to try to knock down your enemies. Yeah. Even the Force users had them, so it was like a big old Force blast. Which again, made for just really goofy looking figures. Look at my giant arm. 40 points. Wow. That's a lot. He's a warrior. Warrior! Yeah. Luke versus Anakin. Well, it depends on which version you use. I mean, are you using 30-point warrior swinging Luke? Or 40-point warrior force blasting Luke? We had some prequel Wookiees. Wookiee Commandos. I mean, they went deep. We even got these goofy Utapau warriors. They did a couple of larger things. I think there was a Jabba the Hutt that was like a double, like a longer base. The only one I have is the AT-RT, which is cool. It has a rotating thing in the back to shoot. I don't know if it. Oh, there we go. Anyway, turn this thing and it'll shoot. And then instead of trying to knock it over, which is obviously going to be difficult with something this size, if you knock down these shields in the front, that would trigger it to fall back. And so the Jabba the Hutt had some kind of mechanic like that. Stay. What else? But yeah, as you saw, I have a ton of these. Jango Fett. I don't know if I have a Boba Fett. Grievous with a projectile launcher. Yeah, I mean it's neat for what it was, but yeah, definitely like the proportions are really goofy, and I mean it was a thing. It did not, from what I remember, it did not catch on very well. There's a little Jawa. But yeah, I have a ton of these. I never got any of the Marvel toys. Marvel Attacktix. Oh, and there was also some kind of a rarity thing. Because some of these were blind packaged, and every so often you'd find a figure with like a different color, like a metallic base, and that meant something. I don't remember exactly how that worked. I think there were silver and gold versions. I'm trying to look in this box and see if I have any. I have a few silver ones. Maybe it was just silver. Yeah, I definitely have some of these silver guys. Yeah, so I never got any of the Marvel, but again, you can imagine the same type of style. But I do have a couple of the Transformers. So here is Overhaul, and again, exact same idea. Projectile launchers or some kind of spring-based swinging attack. Let's see what else. We've got Excellion, which in another world is sort of like another Hot Rod variant. Mexican Robin, I started the Netflix series. I think I watched the first 2 episodes. Haven't had a chance to go back and watch any more yet. Yeah, and so these were very specific to the animation that was on at the time, not G1 designs or anything like that. This is Dirt Boss. This one was kind of cool. It has a big launcher on the back that could flip down over his shoulder. At least it used to. And then I had a couple more. Oop, there was even a Padme. Oh, this one's cool. Sky Blast. So Sky Blast was, I think, from the Energon line. But he was another one of these Autobot spaceship / jets that sort of looks like something that could be from Macross. So I've got a little toy of him somewhere. And then, oh, that's funny. So tying into the topic at hand before we got into all of this, there's a Rodimus. Now, this Rodimus design specifically is based on this toy, which was one of the only Rodimuses ever that was not actually like a super futuristic race car, but kind of like a wacky truck thing. I don't know. A cool racing truck. But yeah, so there we have Rodimus. Rodimus is a 20-point commander. They had so many of these different things. And if he died with the white tab, you could put a trooper into play from your backups. So yeah, to play this game, you had to have like a million figures, especially for all of these things that could happen. We're bringing things back or swapping them out. It got a little complicated. Oh, this was cool. Darth Maul's is Vengeance. If it's white when he gets knocked over, remove one of your opponent's Jedi if you have a leader in play. So you can really... So the game... Yeah, that's the other thing. So the actual gameplay of this was super silly, super random. I mean, you could do one of these pullback things. You would accidentally knock something around. You'd get like a bad twist to it. It wouldn't work. One of these effects would simultaneously knock out one of your opponent's other things and bring one of yours back. So it was very swingy, and I don't think there was much actual tactics and thought that went into playing the game. But yeah, definitely an interesting thing to look back on. 2006. 2005. So we had at least 2 years worth of these toys. Yeah, Grievous gets knocked out. 2 of your other droids can go and do something. Oh, my favorite Transformer. Oh, man. Like my actual favorite Transformers specific toy? I don't know. That's a tough one. I've had a lot over the years. I've had most of the Grimlock toys. Not everything, but most of them. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Oh, there have been some really good sound waves. I got the Japanese sound wave that it's about this big. It's small, but it's an actual MP3 player. That one was cool. Okay, let me put these guys back. If I ever do more of the, like a Figure Friday where I have Jessica come over and I can teach her new games, I could teach her this game. We'd actually play. That would be funny. Okay, Attacktix, you're out of here. Well, I think that's the most screen time Attacktix has gotten in 15 years. Mexican Robin, your work is doing the remodels for some... Oh, wow. That's cool. Fantastic. So we have Hot Rod here. And again, like we talked about, they couldn't just put Hot Rod because Hot Rod exists somewhere else as a toy in some universe. So it has to be Autobot Hot Rod. You know, what are you going to do? Comes with 2 guns. Do they attach? Sometimes his guns attach. No. But they'll do something on the toy itself. His head comes off to be, what do they call it? Fire drive? Fire drive. Oof, that's brutal. He's just gray plastic on the inside. Womp womp. These are all interchangeable, though. They all have the same little head shape, so you can mix and match the different heads to the robots, which are cool. It just plugs into a little... There's no additional thing. If you remember the original Headmasters, there was a little chest panel in all of them that would pop down, and then when you plugged in the head, it would line up some stats inside, which was neat. Oh, yeah, and because I'm a hardcore Robotech guy, of course, their Jetfires are a big part of my collection. I have quite a few of them. Proportions on this toy are also kind of weird, especially because of how the shoulder works. Arms are really big. Yeah, it's not... And it's a little flimsy. I mean, this plastic is not... It's not really the best. Compare this... And again, it's... I mean, like, the colors and the shapes are a little bit more cartoony compared to, say, one like this, which is a little bit smaller, but definitely has I'd say a lot better of a look to it. Just feels a lot more sturdy too. Yeah, it's really light. I'm surprised. All right, let's transform it. See what it looks like. And yeah, he's got a. Yeah, do they? I mean, they do. No, that's as far down as they'll go. Yeah, man, Walgreens has exploded over the last. Man, I guess now it's about a decade, but they really got into the exclusives game, especially with Hasbro. And there's so many toys that you can only get at Walgreens that. Yeah, and because it's a smaller release, some of those things go for crazy amounts. Especially whenever they do a Marvel Legends toy at Walgreens, those are usually, at least until they're widespread, you can usually count on those to be worth a good amount. All right, so let's transform this thing real quick. Some of my Rodimus toys I keep in robot mode, some of them I keep in car mode. Just depends on which one I like more. All right, looks like it's pretty simple transformation. Yeah, this is pretty basic. You do enough Transformers and you're like, oh, it's that style. It's just pretty flimsy. Push. That's cool. And that's it. All right. It's like a Lego at the end. You got to do all the squeezing. Yeah, Walgreens. So it used to be obviously Toys R Us, Target, Walmart would have exclusives. Obviously, Toys R Us is gone here in the US, at least. Amazon will get exclusives from time to time. They'll do exclusives on their own companies. So Hasbro has the whole Pulse or HasLab, depending on what they're feeling like calling it these days. But yeah, Walgreens, it's a big thing. Okay. So with continuing the gimmick here, you can open this up. It's got a little cockpit or pilot's compartment, whatever you want to call it, for this little fire drive fella. Does he fit in? Barely. Oh, there we go. Okay, well, that's not terrible. It's yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's bright. It's really flimsy, or it feels flimsy. So comparing it to, again, this is one probably my favorite of the more modern takes in robot mode. It's got a lot of kibble and crap, but I do like the look on this. Age suggestion on this one is 8 and up for this new one. So again, looking, I think I have a full size remake of the original, but for right now I just have the mini version. But again, obviously it's very much the same. Hey everybody! Yeah, I'm going through some of my Rodimus / Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime toys. There's action figure version. So we've got, so this was from one of the other kid animated shows. I think obviously the designs are all very similar, but this one was, this one had a really great car mode. The robot modes in this show, I don't remember the name of this show specifically, but they were kind of goofy. So like you can see, you had kind of a silly design for the head. This one you basically had to cram all of the limbs around. So I was like, yeah, once I transform this, I'm not transforming this again. It's going to just stay like this. I managed to cram all the parts in. My kids get plenty of toys. Some of the stuff I keep for me, and it's all of the stuff is on display in this room where I am right now, my toy room, so they can come and look at it. We can enjoy things together. Some littler versions. Again, some with big old cartoony weapons on them. This one's obviously a really basic version, but you can see the head there, and then that style. And this one they did in a couple of different colors. So I have one of these in, I think it's a black and white, at least. And this was the line, one of these days I'll bring them all out. So this was the line where for the Autobots in this scale, this size, man, sometimes this has been Voyager, sometimes they changed the name for this. But essentially, this transforms into a robot mode, and then that robot mode can also be transformed into either the upper half or the lower half of a slightly larger robot, so they can combine in very many combinations, which was cool. His head is way back there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they did Rodimus in black and white, and I think they did another one in black and white, so they would look cool together. I don't know. I guess I have a big box of Transformers from the last time I moved that I still have not gone through. Oh, and then this is cool. So this is actually a bootleg toy. I have a handful of bootleg Transformers, but obviously it is a Rodimus. It transforms into... He transforms just into like a gun that a larger Transformer could use. But it looks pretty cool. The bootleg Transformers world is massive. Or third-party Transformers. And it grew out of essentially just people wanting more designs than what they got out of the toys, or better designs. And so there are just endless companies in Asia that make their own Transformers. And I've talked about this before, and I've shown some of them on stream, because I have a handful, not that many. But they range from like really junky, flimsy things to amazingly intricate, fully transformable, highly detailed toys that honestly that put real Transformers to shame in their complexity and the quality of their construction. It's pretty amazing. And here in the United States, Hasbro hates all that stuff. And if anybody's selling them publicly, will go after them and, you know, be very litigious. But overseas, Takara Tomy either doesn't seem to care, or, you know, the legal system is so different that it's not worth their time. But like I said, there's an entire secondary industry to Transformers that thrives overseas. Yeah, I mean, the biggest Transformers convention that currently goes on. So Hasbro used to put on BotCon, which was a great convention. It was super fun. They stopped. They didn't, as Transformers sort of died out as a major property, they gave up on it. So there's another Transformers convention that goes on called TFCon. There's actually the online version of the newest TFCon is it this weekend or next week? I think it's this weekend. It happens to be. TFCon is super fun. It's put on essentially by the fans and by retailers who are into Transformers, but like the biggest sponsor of TFCon is one of these companies that imports third-party Transformers, and like that's their thing. And they'll do a mold, and then they'll do it in endless recolors and different heads. They'll call it all sorts of silly names. So instead of Optimus Prime, it'll be, you know, I don't know, some other silly version of that. And yeah, and sometimes it'll be to replicate the specific look of something that was in an animation that Hasbro or Takara Tomy didn't produce. And sometimes they just make their own versions of things. But it is interesting. We have, yeah, so it's this weekend. We have a deep love for TFCon, because that is essentially where we launched our soap company. Was that just last year? Wow, yeah. Well, a year and a half ago. Yeah, because my wife had just started making soaps as a business, and then we saw that TFCon was going to be in Burbank for the first time. And we thought, hey, well, let's do that, and let's make some Transformer soaps, and we did, and it was very successful. We had a great time. Yeah, it was literally my birthday weekend in 2019. Wow, yeah. Thank you, Rabid Wombat. We are proud of the soaps. I've got a bag of these DC Nano figures, so I figured I'll crack these open. Yeah, we had no idea what to expect. I mean, we've been going to conventions for decades, right? We live in Southern California. We're super geeks. We've gone to every single convention. Some years, 10 conventions in a year, but it was our first time ever having our own booth and exhibiting at a convention. We had no idea what to expect. My wife made a ton of soaps. We had like 8 different Transformers designs, and by the end of the weekend, we had almost sold out of everything. And it was like for a first time convention exhibiting experience, like that's incredibly rare, and we are very fortunate that was our experience. So yeah, very good times. We constantly wish the TFCon would come back to Burbank. Come back. We had such a good time. But yeah, it was supposed to be in Maryland this year and somewhere in Canada, I think. I don't know. It bounces around a lot. So you've seen them, you know them, you love them. The Jada Toys Nano Metalfigs. This line doesn't really exist anymore. They still do some of them, but in multi-packs. I think it got too expensive for them to produce these little ones and continue selling them for $1 a piece. Again, really deep character choices, character selections, from everything from big movies to cartoons to the comic books themselves. Here we have a very specific Deadshot costume. They are metal. They're die-cast metal. They weigh a lot. The paint on them is mostly metallic paints. Not super well painted, most of them, but decent. Kind of like pop figure level of painting. A lot of flaws in the paint, if they got scuffed a little bit in the package. But, for $1 a piece, not complaining. A lot of it too, you could touch up with Sharpie potentially. So we've got a Deadshot. We've got armored Batman. And yeah, they did Marvel figures, DC figures, Street Fighter, Harry Potter, Disney, Pixar, Power Rangers, Walking Dead, more. But yeah, they have stopped, for the most part, they've stopped producing this scale, except in multi-packs with slightly larger figures. So yeah, here we have armored Ben Affleck Batman. And yeah, I've got a ton of these because They're cool. Probably proxy these out as HeroClix figures if you had the bases separate. But yeah, these were from, went to another convention sometime last year. It's probably, I think it was LA Comic Con, but I found a guy who was selling, who had a ton of them for sale. So I was like, oh, I can pick up a whole bunch of the ones that I was missing. So I've got a big old chunky Doomsday. Obviously, they are attached to their bases. They are not removable. It's one solid piece. Some of them look a little bit more like surfboards than others. This one's not too bad, but yeah, like that's kind of extreme. Some of them have these weird mold line things going on. It's not a pubic hair that got stuck in the mold. It's just how they attach the feet. Yeah, this was cool. Flashpoint Emperor Aquaman. Not a character you see much these days, especially in products. But that's a cool character selection. They added him. So yeah. More. I have more. I don't even remember which ones are in this bag. Oh, here we go. Okay. Evil Parallel Universe Emperor Aquaman versus Jason Momoa Aquaman. Pick your fighter. I feel like I don't know if he's fighting or if he's like professing his love to somebody up on a balcony. It's kind of a weird pose. Or he's doing I don't know, he's doing a dance. Both. The likeness isn't good, but again, for a small figure that's barely painted, you know who it is. Just like with all these figures, there's lots more detail that's sculpted than what they actually painted. Although even so, the sculpts on these are pretty soft. And you'll see things like the because it's all just one piece. It's like his body just sort of molds into the trident in the back. There's no separation there. Oh, that's good. Yeah, like he's singing fighting or dance fighting. I can see that. And then last but not least, like I said, they did these in single packs, 5 packs, 10 packs, and 20 packs. So here we have a 5-pack of just sometimes just like seemingly random figures they would put together. And there would be exclusive figures in these multi-packs. Oh, I don't have this one. That's a cool General Zod. Oh, it's a cool Bizarro too. Like they made a ton of these in such a short amount of time. Singing and dancing Aquaman versus Star-Lord. I'd watch that. So this pack is interesting because we've got a combination of clearly comic book rebirth Batman, right? Looks okay. More animated versions of Batman enemies Killer Croc, Scarecrow, and Ra's al Ghul. Like that's Batman the Animated Series Ra's al Ghul, right? But packed in there with these Gothamites is this version of the Atom. So yeah, just really different versions of characters, which was cool. Different styles from different sources. I gotta imagine somewhere they did like a full checklist design for these. They're numbered on here, so like this Superman is 15, Parademon, or actually, wow, cool typo. So it went from Parademon to Parade Man. Parade Man is 24. General Zod is 94. This Batman is 98. Lex is 99. So yeah, they just made a ton of these things. There are little mini checklists on some of these just to show you what some of the other figures are. Batman, Reverse Flash, Hawkman, Darkseid. 50. Yeah. This was a cool line. I did open it. Yeah, so this was Jada Toys Nano Metalfigs. Specifically in this line. And again, they've done metal figures in this scale. They had roughly 3-inch figures that were metal figures, but they were more like Funko Pop proportions. And then they've done some other metal figures that come with their die-cast vehicles and stuff for different lines. Yes, I opened it. It's worth far less now than it was beforehand. But yeah, I dig little figures, so these were right up my alley. I've got a fair amount of the Marvel ones, but definitely more of the DC, which is par for the course with me. Yeah, there was an X-Men. They did an X-Men set, 20 figures, but it just wasn't. It wasn't my X-Men team. And those, like, the sculpts on those were really... Yeah, Zardoz, if you found it, yeah, shoot that over. The sculpts were just really not great on the X-Men figures. Cool, thank you. I'll have to add all my things to the checklist. And again, I missed out on the single packed adult Groot. Was never able to find that one. I have teen Groot. I have potted baby Groot, but not original adult Groot. Last time I looked on eBay, there was only like one of them, and the guy was asking an exorbitant amount for it. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to go through this checklist. And they did a couple. They've done some like playset kind of things, and then some larger scale things. They made a display case where you could put in a bunch of single figures. They did a Bat Cave kind of it's not really a playset, it's more of a display base. Oh, this is cool. I love this. I love checklists for toys. So it looks like the DC topped out at 113 figures. I wonder if that includes exclusives and things. Yeah, oh, nano scenes. So those were the little box sets that had a little, it's almost like a diorama. But yeah, oh, a lot of repaints too. So I see like 106 is a red and yellow. Looks like a fire version of Doomsday. So there's some cool stuff in there. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
It's crazy hair day in school today. I like the mohawk. I like the blue mohawk.
They call it creative hair day.
Creative hair, not crazy hair? All right. I guess because crazy is maybe derogatory for mental health. You do definitely have creative hair. I definitely like the blue mohawk. I should do mine. Can I do blue mohawk?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It was really hard to do.
It looks good. You pulled it off. Did the other kids like it?
No one said about it.
What?
Maybe.
All right. Well, it's hard on Zoom or Google Classroom. All right.
I am just gonna steal some bubble wrap.
Okay, you can take that bubble wrap. All right. Cool. Well, that is going to do it for me today. Looked at some fun stuff. We had the last of my Miniverse toys that I opened. We got a shiny new Rodimus and a bunch of little DC metal figures. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me while I open toys and talk about toys. Oh, and we looked at a lot of Attacktix. I gotta catalog mine one of these days. Make sure I have a list of all the stuff that I own. Borat is facing Dr. Lupo. Wow, that's Terrence. That's quite a headline. When does the new movie come out? Tomorrow? No, a few days from now. Friday. I guess I'll probably watch Friday. Cool. All right, let me see if there's anybody else on who I should raid. Let's see what else is happening this week. Tomorrow I'll be back for Warhammer Wednesday. I think it's just normal stuff the rest of the week. I don't think there's anything crazy going on. Oh boy. Well, I'm not raiding because there's nobody on according to my friends list. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get going. Thanks everybody for hanging out and watching. And oh, Rabid Wombat, you got the Space Marine Codex. That's the one thing I did not buy last week. Was the actual Codex. I just bought the minis. And I have a pre-order for the Hammerfall Bunker. I might be the only one. I think it looks cool. The rules aren't great, but we'll talk about that tomorrow or next week. Okay, I do need to get going though. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out while we opened and played and talked about toys. And I'll be back tomorrow. So yes, we'll discuss later. All right. See you, everybody. Bye-bye.